welcome to another episode of Ciera Talks, where I just be talking, y'all. So, change of plans. I am going to be doing my The Bear episode. Will I ever go back and re-record my interview with the vampire season 2 episode 6 video? The world may never know. Or I may re-release it later. I was having so many technical difficulties. My computer kept freezing and the file was too big because I had talked too much. So I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet, honey. At least it was almost an hour long and my computer was like, hey. I'm a laptop. Chill out. I was like, you're right, I'm sorry. So, I'm going to be talking about the bear today. I hope you're well. Happy Juneteenth. I'm recording this on Juneteenth because work don't stop. But also, it's not really work. I'm having a ball. The work is in the editing. Now, I'm not going to lie. That's where the work is. Because I could talk. But yeah, I hope you're having a lovely Juneteenth. We're free. We're free. It's so crazy. To all my American black Negroes. Oh, also I got a new mic. This is a new microphone. So I hope you like it. Because I like it. I like holding it. And yeah, okay, let me get into this. And I'll see you at the end. Bye. So I'm going to be talking about the bear. Disclaimer. All of my videos so far have been about Interview with the Vampire. But I said in the first episode, this will not be an Interview with the Vampire podcast. I will be talking about things that I like. I just happen to be watching Interview with the Vampire right now. Now that I got that out of the way. The Bear, FX's Hulu's The Bear, starring Jeremy Allen White and Aya Edeberry. How do I feel about The Bear? I've never had a show become a comfort show that quickly. I binged the first season because they release them season by season. It's just every episode. I binged the first season and got to the end and was like, wow, TV is back. Like, are we making real media again? This is crazy. And for a while, my brain was just the Bear and Beyonce and the Bear. Because this was right either before or right after Renaissance came out. So my brain was just singing. I loved it. Whatever undiagnosed thing I have going on up there was just living its best life. I was like, wow. Between Beyonce and the Bear, nothing can go wrong. Anywho. But yes, The Bear quickly became a comfort show. I watched it and I have so many thoughts. I've watched it, y'all. When I say I watched it, I mean when I am on my phone playing Stardew Valley, I will turn on The Bear and just let it play. But I've also actively watched The Bear a bunch of times. The Bear is such an important part of my life and my best friend's life, that when we went out of town last year, Bear season 2 was going to come out during our trip. So we included The Bear in our trip. We stayed in the first night of our trip and ordered food and started The Bear season 2. Like, it was on our itinerary. We were like, we're gonna start The Bear, especially because it's our together show. It's one of our shows that we sit up and analyze and talk about. The Bear is just very special. And I know some people say it's extremely stressful. I've never worked in the service industry, so I don't have that same kind of connection to the show. All of my connections come from the trauma of losing a family member and trying to move on and reckon with how you feel about that. That's where my connection comes from. But that kind of chaos is very soothing to me. For some reason, I don't understand, but I love it. So yeah, I love the bear. That's my review. Video's over. So yeah, season 1 is amazing. Season 2 was crazy, and I love just no sophomore slump. Just came back like they never left. Season 1 is amazing. I love how quick paced the first episode is, and it's just like we're seeing Carmen drowning. Like he is trying his best to keep his head above water because, well, the restaurant is called The Beef. He is trying to keep the beef above water because his brother, who left him this restaurant, didn't leave it in the best condition. The best thing he left was the staff, honestly. He has a solid staff. Now, do they treat Carmen the way they should be treating him? Not really. But change is hard. And they're also grieving. Like, I've seen so many videos about the bear and heard so many people talk about the bear. And I feel like not enough people are talking about the everyone's grief. And I understand that Carmen is our main character. He's our protagonist. But it's like the rest of the staff aren't antagonists. They're not against him. They're not trying to make him fail. So to not see anyone get into what they could possibly be going through is very strange. It's very like, y'all don't care about the staff? Y'all don't care about Tina Ibrahim? Sure, okay. I don't think it's anything. It's just something strange that I've noticed. Maybe I haven't watched enough videos about it. Yeah, The Bear is definitely my grief show, and I love it so much. And that's why I will stand 10 toes to say Richie may not always be right, but we also have to realize Richie went through a lot. And I'll joke and be like, I'm a lover girl. I am a lover girl. I am very much so a romantic, but my most important relationships, my most long lasting relationships are with friends and family. My best friend and I have been best friends since 2006. Not 2006. And I feel like people don't address Richie's grief enough, which is crazy to me. Like, I know some people kind of got back or like gave him some grace during season 2. And it's like, I was there in season 1. Like I said, is he right? No. The way he treats Sydney is crazy. When she's literally just coming in and just being so hostile towards her from jump, condescending, telling her she's being aggressive. Baby, he's just wrong. He is wrong. But people contain multitudes. They're all going through it. Everybody is going through it. And his wrongness does not take away from the fact that he is going through it. His going through it does not take away from the fact that he is wrong either. It's just very, yeah, as a friend girl, because I am a friend girl, not seeing people talk about the fact that he lost his best friend is baffling to me. He and Richie had been friends since they were children. He was at family dinners, and like being a person that has had a best friend for this long, and I've been integrated into her family, she's been integrated into mine. Seeing people ignore the fact that he lost someone that was deeply important to him is just very, it's disheartening. And I hate that for Richie. Like, I really feel for Richie because when you're that close to someone, I can't imagine losing my best friend. That's great. Like, we're connected at the hip. And we're not. It's so funny. We go months without seeing each other. We go weeks without talking. And then get together and it's like we've been together this entire time. So to lose someone like that and have everybody be like, oh, he's such a jerk. Oh, why does he act like that? Oh, he's the worst. Yeah, I'ma be the worst. So section 1, your best friend dies. Subsection A, you have to plan that best friend's funeral because his brother won't come home to help plan that funeral. And as a person that's helped plan some funerals, that's nuts. Because planning a funeral is the worst. You are doing business with people. You are giving people money to do things because somebody is dead. And you just have, you're doing business. The business of death is very crazy. The funeral business is very crazy. It's like otherworldly crazy to be like, I am doing business with someone that is in the business of death, that's in the business of burial. It is crazy, and it will do things to your mind. So he's handling that. Right? He's handling that. His best friend's dead. He's meeting up. I was gonna name the local funeral home. He's meeting up with the funeral home and the people and doing the things, doing paperwork, figuring out how to pay for everything. I highly doubt Michael had life insurance. He doesn't seem like he had that kind of foresight. Like, or his mama. His mama don't seem like she had that kind of foresight either. So I'm just assuming he didn't have life insurance. For all we know, he maxing out credit cards. Like, one of the reasons he got divorced is because he got so distracted from his marriage, which is, girl, if you wanted to get out, just say that. Because I also can't imagine being married to Richie, honestly. And then he, like, completely ignores your marriage. Yeah, he's going through, he has a small child. Ava is like, oh, she's 5. She's 5 in season 1. So she gives 5. She gives 4, just turned 5. So you're dealing with your pre-K age child. Your best friend is dead. Your wife feels ignored. Your best friend's mother and all of her issues. I can't imagine how planning that funeral was. This is really dark. Anyway, yeah, be nicer to Richie. I said all that to say, be nicer to Richie. Okay, I'm back. I really had to like recenter because I just started going off because it really bothers me that people act like Richie isn't going through it. And like I said, it's because I'm a friend girl that it bothers me so much. I know my family wouldn't treat my best friend like that, and my best friend's family wouldn't treat me like that. But still, it bothered me. Okay. Speaking of best friends, let's get to Carmi's best friend, Sydney. The heart of the show. Sydney is just a literal breath of fresh air for the restaurant. She comes in and she has all these good ideas, and she's just a hard worker, and she knows the same like lingo, vernacular as Carmen, like all the restaurant things. And even though we find that out in a very stressful scene, God, love that scene, where Sydney is staging, so she's making the family dinner for the staff. And just in case you don't know the lingo. And Richie is just yelling at Carmen. He's just yelling, oh God, just being so overbearing. And he's like, why did you tell me this? Why you changing stuff, cousin? Never in... Baby, calm down. You were late. You don't get to be late for work and come in yelling. That's not how that works at all. Get better time management skills, Richie. But yeah, he comes in and he's just yelling, and Sydney's just chopping. Say chopping and screwing. She's just chopping and making things, and she's making a stew for family. We love a resourceful young lady. And Carmen is yelling too. Don't get me wrong, Carmen is yelling back. He and Richie are really having a full-blown argument in the middle of that kitchen. And it's so tense because Carmen is chopping, and his knife is dull, and things are just, it's very overstimulating. Like, I can watch it, but I could not imagine being in that environment. I would have been quit. If I were Sydney, oh baby, I'm gone. I'm out of here. It's way too chaotic. I'm finna make this food and go. You can cash at me for the day. I gotta go. Because I can't deal with that kind of stress. With adults, with children is one thing, because they're literally children. Like, I can compartmentalize, this is how children act. But with adults, y'all just yelling and screaming. Why are we yelling and screaming? Use your inside voice now. Like I say to my kids, hey, do you hear me yelling? And they're like, no. I'm like, right. Can you hear what I'm saying? Yes. So I need you to get your voice down to where mine is. Like, do I need to hand hand on my knees, head tilted? Hey, Carmi. Hey, Richie. I need you to get your voice down to where mine is. Thank you. All right, go play. Go play. The Miss Ciera slips out so easily. That's because I go to work every single day. Except for today, because it's Juneteenth and I'm off because I'm black. And I work for a black owned business. So we are closed. Happy Juneteenth. I meant to say that at the beginning. But yeah, they're just yelling and screaming, arguing, going off on each other. And Sydney just like, yeah, chef, do you need a cartouche? She said, well, apparently I'm here for a good time and not a long time. It's not what she was thinking. Sissy was thinking ahead. She's always thinking ahead. And I love that for her. She's so smart. And she has such foresight to a point because she is a little impulsive and very ambitious. We love Sydney. We love, even her flaws aren't flaws. I'm so biased. Even her flaws aren't flaws. So yeah, Sydney comes in and Tina is over her from jump. She's like, who is this girl y'all got in my kitchen speaking Spanish to me like I don't speak English? And it's like, Tina, she literally doesn't know you. She doesn't know you. And you answered her in Spanish. So yeah, she spoke Spanish to you. Like, don't do that, Tina. Also, she's worked in a lot of kitchens. Like, have you seen kitchens? They just be black and brown, brown and black. She said I had picked some things up, which is so impressive. So impressive, Sydney. Oh, because I fully headcanon. She learned Spanish at work. She didn't take it in school. She doesn't have the apps. She learned it at work. She learned it on the job. Because she's so smart. Ciera, please. But yeah, but Ibra is nice to Sydney. And I'm like, thank you, Ibra. Be nice. Because the hostility between, it's not even between, that is a one-sided feud that Sydney never fed into with Tina. And I'm glad she didn't. Because then we get to season 2 and it's the best thing ever. But yeah, Tina has been at that restaurant for years. Ibra has too. And they're best friends and their dynamic is so silly, goofy. They talk to each other any kind of way. They just no respect. They just say whatever to one another and it's so crazy. But you can tell they're definitely in that kind of relationship where we can say it to each other. But you watch your mouth. You don't talk to my friend like that. You watch what you say. Don't let me find out that you've been saying crazy things to my friend. Because now your feelings hurt. Look at you, crying. And I love Tina and Ibra. They're very cute. They're very just like, kind of brother and sister. Yeah, they're just kind of brother and sister. I don't know. They're very cute to me. And I really like their dynamic. Because it's like, wow, they're like, they've just been through a lot together. Like, y'all were working there when Michael was there. And he was on drugs. And he was struggling with addiction, and he was doing things that weren't the best for the staff, that weren't the best for the restaurant, that weren't the best for himself. And they had been through a lot together. And yeah, like I said, I just really enjoy their dynamic. All the dynamics are so good. All of these writing, I say it all the time about Interview with the Vampire. The acting is amazing. But the material that they're working with is just, we haven't been seeing it. I feel like we've really been missing like these like character driven without being pretentious. The Bear is not a pretentious show. It's not like anything is going over anyone's head. It's not a political drama. It's not about like KGB operative. You know, it's not like a difficult show to watch. It's not a boring show. It's not extremely dialogue. It's not so dialogue heavy that it feels like a chore to watch. It's It's very accessible while not being overly simplified, if that makes sense. It's just the writers are just doing an amazing job. Like they've just made a very well balanced show, and then the actors come in and they're just amazing. They just come in and just do the best job. Like, and that's definitely a reason. Like, I don't compare the Bear interview with the vampire. Like, they're right next to each other for me. I do like the Bear better, but like the writing is amazing, the acting is amazing, and then everything else is just extra. We're just like blessed with set pieces and costumes and all this other stuff. It's all on top of this amazing writing. But that's my little tangent on the writers are really good, guys. The writers are really good. That's why they swept the Emmys. That's why AMC needs to do something. Okay, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. AMC needs to get it together because there is no reason. Ciera, please. Ciera, please. I need Jacob Anderson to get an Emmy. I need Asa to get an Emmy. I need the writers to get some Emmys. That show is so well written, directed, produced, costumed. That show is so well made. And for them to not even be nominated, they're not even in like the discussions for it. Baby, what are we doing? What are we doing? Also found out that Mad Men has a few Emmys. I'm not gonna shade Mad Men, but I will say, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Get on it. Like marketing, campaigning, get on it, AMC. What are y'all doing besides dropping the ball? Anyway, Hulu isn't though. FX isn't. They're doing an amazing job at getting our guys and gals in the rooms they need to be in. And I appreciate it. I love seeing people who work hard be rewarded for their work. Awarded, rewarded, dewarded, sorry. But yeah. All of the relationship dynamics are very interesting. Carmen and Natalie, she is so worried about him. As she should be. Yeah, I would be very worried about Carmen if I were Natalie. I don't blame her for being like, hey, do you want to go to therapy? She said our childhoods were very messed up, and then our brother suffered, fought with addiction, and then lost in the end. And I'm going to need you to not go down that same path. I am so worried about you. I am so scared for you. And long suffering Natalie. She is long suffering, but she also doesn't play because she is quick to tell Carmi, you're getting on my nerves. You never even ask how I'm doing. I'm married, I have a job, and I'm up here working with you on this restaurant, but you don't want to ask me how I'm doing? Carmen, that's crazy. And it's like, the Carmen, that's crazy. Ask about your sister. See how she doing. Um, Also, the actor who plays her does a really great job. I like all, from what I've seen, these actors present themselves in a way that I can really appreciate. I really appreciate all of them and what they're doing. Um, but yeah, The Bear season one is just, like I said, deeply impressive. Like going from the first episode, because it's gonna be like a season one retrospective, season one analysis. I'm not analyzing anything, a little bit. Um, Carmen and Richie and their fraught relationship, because like you're my brother's best friend, and I call you my cousin because you call my brother your, like we cousins. Everything that they go through is so real, but also, speaking of real, I have to point this out because it has been bothering me for a while. I think I'm gonna do a separate season two video, but I'm gonna say it now while I'm thinking about it. During season two, Richie is like, "Oh, yeah, we don't have anybody on the books." Him and Natalie are planning, like, they're going through the books and trying to see, like, do we have reservations? And he's like, "No, we have a few, but we're not booked out." I need FX to know that I know and that we all know That is fiction. That is pure fiction. Because the whole thing of like Sydney went to that restaurant. Girl, her and her daddy was not going to the beef back in the day. She knows who Carmi is. You were the best. You were in CDC at the best restaurant in the world. You were the chef at the best restaurant in the world. You don't think other people know that? You don't think other people follow the best chef, Food and Wine's best new chef? You don't think people know who he is? And are excited to find out that he's gone back to his hometown to save his family's restaurant. And now he's going to open his own restaurant. You don't think that people, y'all are booked. They're booked. You're booked. You're like, damn, are we going to be able to do this? You are slammed. Okay? Those books are full. Getting reservations is not a problem. That is a falsity. I'm like, so Sydney's the only one who knows who Carmen is. She's the only food nerd. She's the only like chef fangirl. Stop playing with me. Once I realized, because I had kind of tripped off of it in the beginning when it was like, did Sydney, like in the fandom, like, did Sydney actually go to that restaurant as a kid? Or does she know him because she's a fan? And I'm like, she a fan, she a fan, she a fan. Like, she admires him. So to be like, oh, yeah, no one is going to come to the bear. No one cares about the bear. Stop. It makes sense for the plot. It makes sense for the plot. It pushes the plot along. We get some tension. Like, oh God, are we going to be able to sustain? How are we going to get a star if no one comes into the restaurant? What are we going to do? But in reality, in the real world, and you're in Chicago, you're in a food city, and you're a famous chef from that city that went to New York and then came back to that city to save your family's restaurant and then ends up revamping the family's restaurant into a more high-end restaurant. Please stop playing. They are booked. Chefs are coming to that restaurant. The girls who follow him on Instagram, the girls who follow the Bear Instagram, the guys who follow the Bear, the people that follow the Bear Instagram. Hey, stop playing with me. It's like, as a girl who likes things, as a girl who gets very into the things that she likes, I know that they would be booked out. But again, it makes sense for the plot, makes sense for tension, it makes sense for, like, give us something to worry about. If they were just booked, like, we would have to find tension somewhere else. That's an easy source of tension and worry to be like, oh, are people actually going to come here? That's a very easy, and not easy like lazy. It's just like, oh, it makes sense for a kind of new restaurant. It makes sense. But also, just, that is my one nitpick about the show. Acting like people don't know who Carmen is, so they're not coming to that restaurant. It's my one nitpick. Because I really don't have many. I love the show so much. And it's perfect in every single way. Nothing about it is bad. Everything about it is good. But yes, back to season 1. Yeah, we see Carmi going to therapy because he needs it. Because again, your brother died and you weren't there. And then you didn't come back for the funeral either. So you didn't even get to properly mourn. Like, what were you doing in New York, girl? What were you doing in New York? Like, he was on autopilot. He was just tweezing herbs onto dishes, child. Because I can't imagine going through all of that and being like in this high pressure kitchen and working. He's not in some Greek tragedy. Like, this happens all the time. People suffer from addiction all the time and their families suffer with them. And getting a little bit of community, not like, oh, he's becoming friends with the people in his therapy sessions or anything, but he's seeing like, oh, I am not the only person going through this, which is nice because therapy is important. Men's mental health is very important and it's becoming more spoken about, which is really good because, yeah, men don't really get the space to be like, I'm depressed. I'm really sad. I'm devastated. Men don't have that kind of room. So it's nice to see him getting his therapy. Now, does he need to go to therapy by himself in a nice little comfortable office with one person talking specifically to him about the things that he is going through? Yes, so bad. Like, I'm in the fandom and all that. So it's like Carmi and Rich. That is the ship. Carmi and Richie. Or Carmi and Sydney. Or Carmi and Claire. Carmi and therapy. Carmi and the couch. And a licensed therapist. I need Carmen to sit down. He got to go talk to that lady. I need him to sit down and talk to someone because he is still not handling things well, as we see at the end of season 2. But yeah, it's nice to see Carmen getting therapy. We didn't have to wait until season 2 to see him start to go to like group and just talk. It's not exactly therapy. What is it? NA, Narcotics Anonymous? Not applicable. He's going there and talking to people and hearing their stories and like getting some coping mechanisms. It's just a step in the right direction for Carmen. And I'm very glad that they made the decision to show that and to have him doing that instead of being like, oh, he's just gonna power through. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's so unhealthy to just be like, I'm gonna handle all this on my own. I'm gonna get it together. I'm a man. I could do this by myself. No, you literally can't. And I like that in some aspects they're pulling him away from like the toxic masculinity tropes. It's like you can't do any of this by yourself. You're running a restaurant. You live and die by your staff. If you're not doing right by them and getting them the things that they need and providing a safe work environment for them and paying them right and being a good boss, that restaurant will die. You can't do this alone. And he even tells Sydney that I can do this by myself. Oh, Jesus, the table scene. But yes, Sydney and Carmi, it does not matter if you ship them romantically, platonically, professionally, they're all good. Because they're such a good team, she's like just like ready to go and like take on every task and just go with stuff full force. And he's a little more fearful. And it's crazy because they both lost things. Like Sydney had a catering business, a successful catering business, but that going at everything full force and taking everything on by herself, she crashed. Like it didn't work out. She had too much going on and didn't have the proper support system. And while she has foresight, she also lacks some. Like, she should have been doing like smaller things. You were doing like whole dinner parties. I follow a lady on Instagram. The page is called is it called There's Food at Home? I love her. She's black and she's in New York. And one of the first videos I saw from her was her doing a music festival with her restaurant, and seeing her do the booth setup, health inspector gotta come. They're buying pallets of fruits and vegetables, just pallets of produce, just huge containers of ice, just all of these things that have to be in place. She has a staff there specifically for this. So much goes into it. So I can't imagine, Sydney, what were you doing? Because the lady is amazing and she makes it look easy, but she is also showing us that it is not easy. She's just good at what she does. I'm gonna link her Instagram. I told y'all There's Food at Home. I love her. I'm like, ooh, we love a black woman that cooks and she real cute too. That's just a little plus. And she's a business owner. Come on now. But yeah, she's showing us like you can do it. It takes a team and it takes a lot of work. And I don't think Sydney really had the team for it. And like I said, she did not have the foresight. She did not have the planning for it at that time. While Carmen is like coming at it from a very, I don't want to say fearful, but just a way more cautious place. Because he is like, if I burn out doing this, if I don't succeed doing this, what am I going to do? Because honestly, Sydney is going to be fine. Sydney could get hired at a different restaurant. But I think at this point, Carmen really isn't trying to work under anyone again. Like, he's the executive chef. Sydney is the CDC, and Tina is the Sue. And he's just like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else I have. And Sydney is also coming from a place like that, but in reality, she has options. Carmen has options too. I just don't think he's going to take them. That's the difference. I don't think Carmi would take the options, while Sydney would be like, well, I have to. I feel like, not that Carmi is at the end of his rope, but it does kind of feel like if this does not work out, what is he going to do? I can't see him being in someone else's kitchen. I can't see him going back to that. He would just like have to switch gears completely. What would Carmen do if the bear doesn't work out? What do you think Carmen would do? Do you have any theories about that? Leave it in the comments if you do, because now I'm thinking about it. I have to ask my best friend. If the bear didn't work, I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Like, it's a TV show. I'm sure it's going to work. But, like, if it didn't work, what would that man do? Oh, wow. That's something to think about. But, yeah. There was something else I wanted to get into before I end this episode. Sydney and Tina, I need you to know, I don't care about no relationship more than Sydney and Tina. No relationship has, in the history of television, made me cry by its growth more than Sydney and Tina. To go from Sydney and Tina being in a one-sided feud on Tina's part, just sabotaging her food, disrespecting Sydney, telling her she don't speak no English, like, just being so mean to Sydney. Like, she was just being mean. I don't want you here. You're part of the new regime. Like, she was worse than Richie in some aspects. Like, sabotaging her food was crazy. Also, a thing I want to point out in that episode where she turned up the heat under the, was she making stock? She was making something on the stove. In that episode, Sydney had cut her finger on a box cutter. And Tina rushed over and was like, let me see what happened. And I know for a fact that if Sydney had let her help her, she would not have sabotaged her food. I know she wouldn't have. Like, does that make anything right? Like, you don't deserve to help Sydney. Sydney doesn't owe you letting you be nice after you've been mean to her. It's not like you've been trying to be nice and Sydney's been rejecting you. You've been mean to her this whole time. So no, I don't want your help. Why would I'm bleeding. I'm surprised bleeding. I just cut my finger on a box cutter because a box cutter was randomly left open. And now I'm bleeding in the kitchen. So I have to like bandage my finger, wear 2 pairs of gloves. I'm annoyed and you've been mean to me. No, I do not want your help. But like I said, I know for a fact that if she had let Tina help her, she would have been nicer to her. She would not have sabotaged her pot. I know it. I know it because I've met people like that. If she had let that lady help her with her hand, she would not have done that. And I love that they made that choice. Because I'm like, yeah, Tina, it's like, you're messed up. You're kind of messed up, sissy. And you know her logic was like, I was trying to be nice. And it's like, but you could have tried to be nice before. You waited until I'm bleeding everywhere to be like, oh, I can be nice. No, just be nice. Just literally just be nice. Not, oh, I'm bleeding and dying everywhere and now you want to be nice to me? No. Okay. But to go from that to her being like, you're going to try this new mashed potato recipe, and to Tina losing track of time and her pot boiling over. And when she took the pot back into the dish room, she came back and there was another pot with the milk and the herbs and stuff in it. And she asked Sydney, she was like, why'd you do this? And Sydney was like, I don't have time to fuck around. And I'm like, Tina, this is a one-sided feud. I feel like in that moment, she really realized, I've been tripping. I've been tripping this whole time. Because Sydney could have let her crash and burn and used it to like publicly humiliate her, to put her in her place and be like, I'm over you. I'm your boss. I'm your supervisor. I'm the Sue. You listen to what I say. And she did not do that. She treated her with kindness and respect. And she changed her tune. And it was hard for her to accept it, because even when she finished the mashed potatoes, she was like, go ahead and tell me it sucks. Also, that lack of confidence. Tina, you're a great cook. You're a great chef, Tina. That lack of confidence and just expecting the worst because she's been giving her the worst. And she was like, no, the potatoes are great. Good job, chef. And her face, she looked so happy. She looked so surprised to be met with that kindness, because it was kind of indirect with the pot of milk and herbs. It was kind of indirect. But for her to just be like, I am not going to match your energy. I am going to acknowledge that you did a good job and let you know, and not even in a condescending tone. She was like, oh, you did a great job. Like, just her face, Tina's face. We love it. I love. And she eventually started wearing her blue apron like she was supposed to. And Carmen was like, you're dressed like Sid. And she was like, yeah. Where is Sydney? Like, when is she coming back? After the episode. I want to do a whole episode of that episode. But after the episode and Sydney quit, like, it's just to jump to season 2. And again, Carmi is now the executive chef. Sydney is the CDC. And I love Tina being like, we got to find a Sue. Like, if you're the CDC, who's going to be the new you? And her just being so open to learning and wanting to do things and wanting to just wanting to learn and become a better chef and become a better worker and a better part of this team. And the fact that Sydney saw that and was like, you are my Sue. You are my Sue. When I say my best friend and I sat in that Airbnb and cried. Yeah, me and I have sat up and cried because it was such a beautiful moment to see how far their relationship came. That's one of my favorite moments of the show. And even though I've seen season 2 a billion times, I still get like misty eyed when we get to that part. This relationship could have gone so wrong. Also, to see them not pit two women of color against each other, especially by them being different ages, they were like, yeah, Tina was going through it a little bit, but we're past that now. Like, oh my God, I love when writers don't upset me. I love when writers don't upset me. Yeah, it's just very beautiful. Very, also, Tina and Ibra. I that first season 2 episode 1, I believe all of this was happening. We're sending you to culinary school crying. I was like, imagine somebody paying for you to go to culinary school. Imagine not somebody. Your job is paying for you to go to culinary school. What? They said, yeah, we'd like for you to get better at what you're doing. Oh, because I don't think I mentioned In the very first episode of Ciera Talks, I mentioned like, oh, I cook and I bake, da da da. I wanted to be a baker. I love cooking. I love food. I love it. It's like my mom and my daddy taught me how to cook. Some of my fondest memories are those first memories of them teaching me how to cook and being in the kitchen with them. Like, I grew up watching Food Network, back when Food Network, like, back when they didn't have ovens on set and they were just putting food into cabinets and putting the, like, baking off set. And they'd be like, I'm going to put this in the oven. And they were just putting it into a cabinet. You're just putting cake batter in a pan into a cabinet. And then you have another cake ready. I was watching Food Network when it was new, honey. So that's also part of why this show means so much to me, because I genuinely love cooking. I love culinary arts. It's so interesting to me. It's so beautiful to me. Cooking for people is one of the ways I show love. I love it. So, and I'm a teacher now and I love teaching and I love my babies. I love my kids. I love teaching. If someone were to be like, hey, I want you to work in my restaurant and I'm going to pay for you to go to culinary school. Hey, so I am going to work these last 2 weeks. But I gotta go. Like that, and that's, like I said, that's from my childhood. I love cooking. So like I said, for them to be like, we're sending you to culinary school, I'd have passed out. I'd have fainted. I literally would have fainted. Like, it's still one of my dreams to at some point go to culinary school, specifically for baking. I love baking. I love cooking. Don't get me wrong. Love cooking. But cooking's like jazz, you're just doing stuff. I'm like, I want to get like really into all the baking stuff and all the science of it. Like, baking is the only time I'm good. It's not the only time I'm good at math. I'm good at math when it comes to time, money, and baking. Fractions, baby, don't ask me. But if I'm baking, oh, my brain is a calculator. I'm amazing at math when it comes to baking, and it is the weirdest thing. But yes, you sent me to culinary school, faint, laid out on the floor. I love that was a thing. I wish we had gotten to see a little bit more of them in culinary school. Honestly, it's not a nitpick for the Bears, a nitpick for television nowadays, period. Give me a few more episodes. Like, I want to see a little more of them at culinary school, being culinary. Like, it's fine though, honestly. Like, it's fine. I just like a lot of details. Back in my day, shows had 20 episodes a season. So, not 8 to 10 or 7. I'll leave Interview with the Vampire alone someday. They just do so many things that upset me. By they, I mean AMC. But yes, getting to see them go to culinary school was amazing. I'm gonna have to come back to this. I am gonna have to do a part 2 because I did a lot of season 1 and I'm getting into season 2. But yes, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. But yes, The Bear is a very important show to me. And you just learned a fun fact about me. I love cooking. Hey! Okay, I had a really fun time recording this. And like I said, I'm on my new mic, which I love so much. I'm so excited. I got a microphone. I was on my headphones for all the other videos. So hopefully this, like, improves the sound quality, which I think it has already. Yeah, like, also this was a nice departure from the Vamps. I love the Vamps, but I've been talking about them for 6 weeks. I'm so tired. I needed a break. Also, like, The Bear has my heart. The Bear has my heart. It's a very important show to me. And yeah, I'm very glad I'm finally talking about it. Also, apparently this was the first episode in the 2-episode series. Like, I'm going to talk about season 3 after it comes out, but for now I'm just doing season 1, season 2, and everything I like about it, and how we're ramping up to season 3, and just like kind of a look back on how we got here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're taking care of yourself and doing well, getting all your projects done. Taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is actually like the most important part. And again, happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth. Because I have a lot of Black listeners, which makes me very happy because this is Black media. We love that. Yeah, I get to just be myself. I'm not trying to... The people who are going to listen to me are going to listen to me. And yeah, it's Black media. I'm a Black media person. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you continue to enjoy. I really appreciate you for listening. What's your favorite episode of The Bear? Like, do you have a favorite episode of The Bear? Do you have a favorite character or a favorite moment? What's my favorite episode of The Bear? Oh, I'm about to think about that. It's probably between dogs and fishes, I think. 2 very different episodes. 2 just vastly different episodes. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I'm just talking. But yes, I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself. Great week. I'm not gonna start kissing y'all. I'm taking it out. I'm not gonna start kissing y'all. But yes, I hope you take care of yourself. Take care. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, fuck. I just want to thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.